If you want to protect your mental health and tranquil energy, you should never interact with these folks after the age of 70. Senior citizens, have you ever felt more exhausted or drained after having a conversation with another person? As we get older, we begin to place a higher value on our time and energy than we ever had before. Peace of mind is not merely a luxury, rather, it is an absolute necessity, as we are aware, and yet, even when we are in our 70s or 80s, many of us still find ourselves caught up in relationships that are more expensive than they are beneficial. Sometimes it's just a matter of routine. Sometimes it's feelings of guilt. The fact of the matter is, however, that there comes a time in life when the decision of who to avoid engaging with becomes just as significant as the decision of who to let inside. In this video, we will discuss 5 different categories of people that you should give serious consideration to interacting with after the age of 70. Not because you are a chilly or self-centered person, but rather because you have earned the right to safeguard your tranquility. These adversaries are not particularly dramatic or obvious troublemakers. People that we have known for years are frequently among them. Family members, the neighbors, remembered companions. But as we become older, our requirements shift. Also, the relationships that are beneficial to us do the same thing. As you watch this video, you will acquire the knowledge necessary to identify 5 distinct sorts of individuals, the presence of whom may subtly undermine your emotional well-being. Keep with us to the very end, because not only will you get the knowledge necessary to recognize these individuals, but you will also emerge from this experience with a more profound understanding of the kind of presence you would like to have in your life from this point on. Indeed, it has the potential to alter the way in which you select your firm going forward. It's time to get started. Feelings that are amoral. There are people in this world who do not intend to cause you harm, but they nonetheless manage to leave you feeling drained. Neither of them yells. In no way do they disrespect. In point of fact, they frequently give off a friendly and even pleasant vibe. But every talk centers on their suffering, their anxiety, and the drama that they are experiencing. You feel fatigued after each and every visit. These people are emotionally draining. For your own sake, it is time to take a step back from them once you reach the age of 70. They could appear like long-lost buddies who are in constant need of being rescued. It's possible that they are neighbors who are always looking for an outlet. In certain cases, they are even people that you once relied on when you were going through difficult circumstances. Now, however, the roles have been switched, and the only thing that they appear to want from you is your attention, your sympathy, and your emotional capacity. The following is what differentiates them from someone who is simply going through a difficult period in their life. Emotional leeches never look for ways to solve problems. They do not wish to develop, change, or cure themselves. All they want to do is keep repeating the same concerns over and over again. And they want you to be a part of it. You might have the impression that you are doing a good job of listening at first. However, as time passes, you begin to become aware of it. When they depart, you are the one who is responsible for carrying the burden. That weight is added up over time. There is a genuine scientific basis for this. It has been discovered by researchers that constantly taking on the stress of other people can result in increased amounts of cortisol, which is commonly referred to as the stress hormone as well. This can have an impact on your immune system, your ability to sleep, the health of your heart, and even your capacity to appreciate activities that you used to take pleasure in. It is not a metaphor when someone says, "I feel drained after talking to them," because it is a true statement. The message that your body is trying to convey to you is very significant. To tell you the truth, emotional leeches almost never change unless they are genuinely motivated to do so. There is no correlation between the amount of time you spend listening, the number of times you offer advice, or the amount of patience you possess. The mere fact that you are present will not be sufficient to change someone's mentality if they are not interested in doing so. This will have the effect of gradually depleting you. Consider the case of Ellen. a retired educator who is 74 years old and has spent years answering calls from an old acquaintance she has known while she was also in college. Anne, another acquaintance of hers, has long struggled with feelings of anxiousness and disillusionment. At first, Ellen was delighted to be present there. Over time, however, the calls finally became every day, and then many times per day. Ellen became aware that she was altering her entire schedule for the sole purpose of providing emotional support to a person who had never inquired about how she was doing. Ellen allowed the call to be transferred to her voicemail one day. Then someone else. She did not fully cut Anne off, but she did alter the relationship between the two of them. Instead of working during those hours, she began going for evening walks. For the first time in years, she experienced a sense of relief in her shoulders. There is a way to love someone while also protecting yourself. You can wish someone well while at the same time making the decision to avoid engaging in their never-ending loops. Over the age of 70, your emotional energy becomes holy. Additionally, you are deserving of partnerships that are considerate, mutually beneficial, and respectful. In second place, relatives who are manipulative. As we become older, the structure of our families shifts. People grow up to become adults. The responsibilities that siblings take on change with time. In addition, there are occasions when the individuals who are closest to us start employing emotional strategies in order to acquire what they want without even recognizing it. The realization that not every relative deserves access to your time, energy, or resources is one of the most emotionally taxing realities to confront after the age of 70. There are times when manipulative members of the family do not immediately reveal their true nature. Indeed, a good number of them smirk while they manipulate you into feeling guilty. From now on, you never call me again. The last thing you would want to do is disappoint your grandchildren. Do you agree? When you consider everything that I have done for you, it may sound like love, but it actually feels like pressure. In addition, you do not have a sense of elation as you leave the conversation. You have a sense of being duped. Families frequently have a rule that is not explicitly stated. Because of your age, you should be more generous, more tolerant, more quick to forgive, and less demanding of yourself. The fact of the matter is, however, that simply because you are older does not mean that your limits should become more loose. In point of fact, this is the period of your life in which they ought to be the most transparent. Let's not mince words. There are a lot of elderly people who have a repressed fear of being forgotten or excluded by their family. These manipulative relatives are aware of this, and there are instances when people use it against you, regardless of whether they intend to or not. Your dread of being alone will be used as a leverage point by them in order to obtain favors, money, assistance, or emotional labor that you do not actually have to offer. And as time goes on, you start to question the credibility of your own intuition. Are I being self-centered? Am I the source of the issue? On the other hand, you are aware, on some level, of the distinction between a request and a manipulation. When it comes to the second one, you are always uneasy. Putting your faith in that sensation is essential. Consider Martha, a grandma who was 78 years old and had spent the previous few years watching her daughter every weekend. Martha had been doing this task for the past several years. What began as a favor being done on occasion gradually evolved into an expectation that was not explicitly stated. The only thing that is present is an ongoing undertone of guilt. There is no gratitude, flexibility, or choice. At some point, Martha eventually expressed her sentiments, stating, "I love my grandchildren very much, but I also want my weekends back." In reality, the backlash that she feared never materialized, and the freedom that she had afterward was irreplaceable. This is not about severing links with relatives or abandoning them in need of support. Redefining what love looks like is the focus of our endeavor. There is no manipulation of guilt or entrapment in silent contracts when it comes to healthy love. Because of this, your boundaries, your time, and your right to decline are all respected. You have not come to this world to help other people till the absolute end of your life. You are here to make the most of the time that you still have. To put it another way, you should surround yourself with individuals who love you without conditions, rather than those who love you just when it is advantageous for them. I would appreciate it if you could use the second comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Now, let's proceed with our plans. Third, those individuals who disregard the wisdom you possess. A sort of disrespect that is particularly detrimental to older individuals is when they are spoken to as if they are ignorant of anything. This is one of the most subtle forms of contempt. Maybe you've already spotted it. It may manifest itself in the manner in which someone interrupts you, corrects you in the middle of a sentence, or waves aside your opinion with a smile that conveys the message that you inhabit another era. Those individuals are the ones who disregard your sensible advice. When you reach the age of 70, they are no longer a part of your inner circle. At first glance, it might appear to be a harmless routine. The recommendation that you made is dismissed by a younger coworker. A joke is made on your memory by the child of a friend. There is a possibility that even members of your own family will make light of your experience or tell you that you are a traditionalist when you speak up. On the other hand, this pattern conveys the message that your viewpoint is no longer valid throughout the course of time. Moreover, that is not at all accurate. Numerous decades of your life have passed. They are unable to even fathom the difficulties that you have overcome. Over the course of your life, you have endured loss, change, and everything in between. You have worked, raised families, and served your communities. Your knowledge is not out of date, rather, it is something that you have gained. However, when you are surrounded by individuals who ignore your wisdom and dismiss it as if it were a relic, it gradually chips away at your confidence. And this is where things get even more complicated. When other people treat you as if your thoughts are no longer important, you begin to question your own judgment. If you are in a conversation, you might hold back. It is wise to refrain from offering advice. There is a possibility that you will remain silent even when you are aware that you have something deep to say. This is a learned silence. It is not a natural condition. Something like this occurs when respect is continually withheld from someone. Take, for example, the story of Leonard, a retired mechanic who is 82 years old. He offered some guidance to his granddaughter, who was experiencing difficulties with her vehicle. Based on his many years of experience, she couldn't help but chuckle and then replied, "Grandpa, I'll just ask Google." Although it was intended to be humorous, the sting didn't go away. It wasn't because Leonard felt important to be correct, rather, it was because he felt invisible. The kind of gradual decline that occurs when one is disregarded is the kind described here. Having said that, this does not imply that every disagreement is disrespectful. It is not a problem for individuals to hold contrasting opinions. On the other hand, there is a significant gap between disagreeing with something and dismissing it. Dialogue is encouraged by one. It is the other that excludes you. At the age of 70, you have earned the right to be in spaces, whether they are actual or figurative, where your comments are heard, your opinions are appreciated, and your stories are taken into consideration. In addition, it is not only about you. It is about the values that you set for other people. As you demonstrate to your grandkids and the community that age is not a decline, but rather a rising, a deepening, a time of clarity, and not a period of irrelevance. You demonstrate that you demonstrate respect. When it comes to the lives of another person, you are not a backing dancer. In your own right, you are the primary act. Additionally, someone who continually treats your voice as if it were background noise is not someone who should be in the spotlight. There is no need for you to argue. There is no need for you to compete for space. You have the option of spending your time with people who recognize your worth, not only for the things you've accomplished in the past, but also for who you are at this now. One of the most significant acts of self-respect that may be performed is the choice that you made. Regardless of how quiet it may be, persistent complainers come in at number 4. When someone never seems to have anything positive to say, this is one of the most obvious indications that they may no longer be a part of your inner circle. They constantly find a way to dampen down the mood, regardless of the day, the weather, or the company that they are having. These are the people that grumble all the time. Moreover, if you are above the age of 70, they have the potential to become one of the most significant drains on your emotional energy. You are aware of the type. You take a seat at a coffee shop or a meeting with your family, and before your beverage has even had a chance to cool down, they are already in the middle of a story about how everything is going all wrong. Nothing ever seems to go right for them, whether it be the dog of their neighbor, the news, the government, their food, or their doctor all at the same time. A toll is taken on you, even though at first you might feel tempted to listen, to help, and to show kindness. However, this eventually becomes a burden. Why is it important to ask? As a result of the fact that after the age of 70, your energy is no longer something that you should squander foolishly. You have devoted your entire life to being there for other people, helping friends get through difficult times, and carrying emotional weight that was not supposed to be yours. The time has come for you. Also, you should not waste your time with people who frequently complain without making any effort to alter things. Slowly but surely, they rob you of your joy. Psychologists refer to this phenomenon as emotional contagion, which is the concept that the disposition of another person can subtly become your own. If you spend enough time with someone who is resentful or pessimistic, you will begin to feel the same burden, even if there is nothing wrong with your own life. A person's emotional environment is more important than it has ever been as they become older. Your physical health, your motivation, and even your memory and sleep patterns are all impacted as a result with this. Take for instance Harold, a widower who is 75 years old and used to get together with a group of friends who have known each other for a very long time. As time went on, he became aware that he left each gathering feeling worse than he had when he had entered it. How come? As a result of the fact that one of the group's members, a man whom he had known for many years, never had a kind word to say about anything. In the end, Harold arrived at a choice that was both kind and forceful. He would continue to run into the group, but only in more intimate settings that did not involve that particular acquaintance. Everything, according to him, was altered. Suddenly, he began to take pleasure in the moment, and he began to feel lighter and more himself. It is not a bad idea to go with delight. That much is certain. The selection of individuals who lift rather than unload is acceptable. One does not have to be everyone's garbage dump in order to be considered a nice person. Even though you care about another person, you can still choose to keep your own peace of mind. Getting rid of people who are constantly complaining does not indicate that you are abandoning your commitment to kindness. In other words, it indicates that you are now showing that kindness to yourself. I would appreciate it if you could use the 4th comment section below to let me know that you are continuing viewing this video and that you are finding these insights to be helpful. I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell if you have not already done so. This will ensure that you do not miss any videos. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. Now, let's proceed with our plans. Deniers of your age who put pressure on you come in 5th. It's completely normal for people to age differently, and that's perfectly okay. On the other hand, there is a particular category of individuals who refuse to acknowledge the process of aging in any way. Not only in themselves but also in those around them. It is the age deniers who are here, and after the age of 70. Being in their presence can subtly cause you to feel ashamed of something that ought to be celebrated as part of your years. Age deniers aren't always outspoken about their beliefs. There are moments when they dress well, say appropriate things, and even demonstrate helpful behavior. Nevertheless, There is a nagging unease that people carry with them when it comes to the process of getting older. Your calm acceptance of aging makes them uncomfortable with their own, which is why they push you to move faster, act younger, and defy your limits. This is not because they want to help you thrive, rather, it is because they are uncomfortable with their own. It is possible that you are familiar with them as the buddy who makes fun of you for using a walking stick, the cousin who rolls their eyes when you mention that you are weary, or the neighbor who says things like, "You still have time for a second career when you're just trying to enjoy a slow morning and a good cup of coffee." Although it is presented as encouragement, it ultimately comes off as pressure. The trouble with these relationships is that they frequently give you the impression that you are falling short, even when you are precisely where you should be. They consider becoming older to be a failure and something that should be fought against at any cost. Moreover, if you are not careful, that kind of thinking will eventually permeate into your own thinking. Your speed, your choices, and your body all begin to be called into question. You begin to feel less than because you have chosen to choose for rest rather than hustling or comfort rather than challenge. To tell you the truth, however, there is absolutely nothing bad about becoming older. In point of fact, living according to your own rhythm conveys a great deal of dignity. A significant portion of your life has already been spent demonstrating things such as your strength, your endurance, and your ambition. In addition to carrying the weight, you have also climbed the ladders and raised the children. It is not necessary to imitate youth in order to be valuable. You already have value in this place. Being slow, being purposeful, and not making excuses for one's actions is a beautiful thing. Additionally, anyone who makes you feel bad for doing so is not someone who should be in your inner circle, especially at this period of time. Consider the case of Paul, a former contractor who has spent decades constructing homes. Paul is 79 years old. Bird watching, writing in a notebook, and spending quiet afternoons on his porch are his favorite activities these days. One of his former co-workers continued to accuse him of being lazy, to invite him on treks with a high level of difficulty, and to tell him that he was moving in the wrong direction. 2 or 3 times, Paul made an effort to meet him halfway, but in the end, he came to the realization that it was not his body that needed repair. It was his friend's concern that there might be a slowdown. Consequently, Paul stopped apologizing, stopped explaining, and began selecting his company with a greater degree of deliberateness. At the age of 70, you have every right to refuse to be subjected to that type of pressure. You are deserving of the ease that you experience in your body, the knowledge that you have acquired, and the joy that you experience when you relax. If you want to be respected, you should surround yourself with individuals who recognize that your pace is not a problem but rather a choice. You are not need to demonstrate that you are still youthful. You have to demonstrate to yourself that you are still the same person. Therefore, it is necessary to surround yourself with people who allow you to age with dignity, grace, and tranquility. Since getting older does not mean deterioration. To become more of who you are than you have ever been before is the goal. I will discuss the last thoughts. As we come to the end of this video, I have a question for you that is not only straightforward but also quite significant. What was the one of these 5 individuals that stood out to you the most? That was the one that complained? No one ever gets to see the sun. The manipulator who posed as a faithful member of the family. Whoever is it that speaks over your sage advice? Who is the friend who leaves you feeling drained? Or the person who denies the passage of time and presents pressure as a positive? Just for a second, give some thought to the relationships that are now present in your life. Who is it that makes you feel like you're carrying more weight? On the other hand, who makes you feel less heavy? You have more than earned the right to prefer calm over pressure, connection over responsibility, and joy over tiredness at this stage in your life. This is because you have earned the right to prioritize these things. In this context, we are not talking about isolating ourselves or excluding everyone. It's all about being clear, choosing connections that bring out the best in you and that see who you are as a person, rather than simply who you used to be. is the key to success. Relationships in which your presence is respected, your insight is honored, and your pace is matched appropriately, mostly due to the fact that presence is everything at this point. Your mental state, your feeling of purpose, and even your physical health are all impacted by the individuals you choose to surround yourself with. Additionally, when you let go of people who continually drain you, you make place for serenity, for vitality, and for new connections that feel like sunlight rather than shadow. Space is created. Now, please accept this invitation. Treat your time, your energy, and your soul as if they were precious gems and protect them accordingly. You've focused your entire life on helping other people. Right now, it is time for you to give the very best of what you have left. We appreciate you being here with us today. It would be wonderful if you could get in touch with us. Please leave a comment below and tell us about one item you discovered today and how you intend to put it to use in your life right now. We place a high value on your opinions, so please do not be reluctant to share them with us. Our inspiration and encouragement are greatly increased as a result of reading your remarks. I would appreciate it if you would like, subscribe, and share this video if you found it to be informative and enjoyable. With your assistance, we are able to continue producing high-quality content that will both inform and inspire you. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we hope to see you in the future video.